Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and I'm playing, once again, Empires of the Middle Ages. The year is 816, and Charlemagne died a few years ago. So now his son controls the Frankish Empire, and he is a pretty weak leader. Not the worst diplomat, but apart from that, he's not really good. And when he dies, the empire will be split in 3 parts. We gotta find a solution for that. It's not gonna be so easy because it's not terribly big. And I wasn't too lucky and I wasn't doing too well. I hoped I could maybe expand into Britain or a little more in the east here or so, but I didn't manage to do that. Anyway, we'll see how it turns out. Maybe we'll have some time left. The Byzantine Empire is in a really good shape. They stabilized their regions. They're all many of them are pretty rich. They are also fortified, which helps in grabbing taxes. I made a mistake here in Adrianople. The second mistake with the heresy, I missed to check for rebellion rules. So probably the conversion back to Eastern Orthodox would not have been that easy, but okay, I mean, it's such is life. So we're gonna check first for the raiders. On a 1 or 2 the Vikings will appear. That's not the case. A 1 will bring the Saracens into play, and that is indeed the case. So let's see what we got. I think we have still a value 3 leader. There we go. Yeah, it's the year 816, so there is a value 3 leader here. We're gonna grab 5 cards, and then I assume that probably these areas here, probably Naples, might end up with some trouble. I guess they won't attack if there is an even chance they go for a different religion. I think they're not attacking their own religion, not the Muslims, but instead Naples. Okay, so the guy has after the modification, a pillage value of 1. After the modification, the fortification helps here, but it's sadly still quite a bit. I'm wondering if I should defend myself here or not. I think I want to risk it, so I let him go for it. That was no success. Only a higher than 5. So he's going to try again. And that was also no success. He needed a higher than 2. Or a 2 or higher, but he only has a 1. So fortification does a good job here. Tries again. And this time he made it. Shit. That's a shame. So that means statue here is reduced by 1. So it goes to +1. And now we got to see now he might choose another area, probably one of these 2 now, because they are now definitely more interesting. They have a +2, and because there's a tie, Muslim in this case doesn't count. They want cash. Question is only if they have a positive value here. Now let's see. We need a 3. Which one are they gonna attack? Let's see. It's the combined. Wait a minute. They're both exactly the same value here. So I'm gonna roll a die. Okay, that is Granada. So we have combat status, social state, and population. So that's 2, 4, 7. No, wait a minute, that's social state of the base area. That is 0. So it's only 5 then. Yeah. And then we have -2. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's a -2, so it's a 3. And then we have the religion modifier, which is another -2. So he's also at 1 here. So we'll see what happens. That is not a success. And the last card is then again a success. So they managed to grab a little bit of money here from Granada. Overall, they were not too terrible, which is good. Let's roll for a magnet. No magnet. So now we actually start this turn. And I guess that the Franks will start here, and I'm gonna draw a card, and that's a year of famine. That's not great. That's more or less the area here. So the Byzantine player will suffer from that. Yeah. So the Balkans are doing really poorly here. Most of them at -2. Not good at all. Okay, I think I actually want to do an attack against Britain. It's not easy, but I want to try that. We can do it here from Flanders, for example. Got to crow across the English Channel. So we got to pay an extra buck here, but that's okay. So that costs us 3 then. Maybe I want to do taxation first though. Well, again, we have to do something against the unrest here. That will cost us at least 2 actions. So we have an administration of 2. Let's see what we got. We might have to pay for that. Social state of the target area is a 2, so that brings us then overall to a -1, I guess. Okay, so that means we have to pay at least 1 to come to a 0. And I think I'm going to throw 3 more in. So I'm at 3. And that is a success. Very good. So that goes away. Well, actually, yeah, let's do that. And then that's the same thing in Friesland. I'm going to do the same. I'm not sure if it makes sense to actually pay it all. I got a feeling like most of the time it's a +1 or no success. So I'm going to do it without paying this time. Oh, fuck, you know, see that? Had I paid just 1. Anyway, gonna do the same. And, oh, it's the other way around, of course. I have to pay that one to be allowed to do it at all. And I'm gonna pay 3 more this time. So I'm at 3. And I did it. Okay, nice. So that means the unrest is gone. And now let's try to do an attack here against, well, maybe against Mercia. I could get that with a single attack from Friesland because they have only a 0 population. So I'm going to try that so that I could get rid of the unrest if I'm allowed, if I can take it. So we got to spend at least 3 for the campaign. And then let's see what my odds are. I have a 2 plus 2 is a 4. Mercia has a social state of 1, so it's a 3. Related language makes it a 2. I think that's it. I'm gonna throw in 5 more bucks to get a 7. And that is good enough. Very good. The target loses 1. And yeah, we were doing fine here. Yep, there we are. So these guys are at 0. Let's see if we can get rid of the unrest. So I'm not going to pay anything. I'm at 1, if I'm not mistaken here. And it didn't work out, but that's still good enough to get rid of the unrest. And if you've seen it, we see here a 2. So that means the son of Charlemagne died, because he has an administration rating of 2. And now the game will change significantly. The empire will be split. That brings us then to 4 players altogether, and then 2 other players will also come into play. So yeah, let's see what I come up with here with the splitting. I'm considering a key area here in Germany, and then probably, yeah, here things are kind of tricky. I mean, definitely, probably I'm gonna go with Italy, and so that I keep these Romanic languages together, and southern France, and the other parts go probably to northern France, maybe here Benelux, Netherlands, and now also Mercia maybe. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. I got to check that. So the way this division works is kind of funny, because first of all, we will divide the kingdom, and we want to divide it in a way that there are in each new kingdom 3 adjacent areas of the same language. And that is then basically the language of the new kingdom. And these have to be 3 different languages. So in this case, we could do here this kind of, I don't know, it's hard to say. I think it's 1, 3, 2, I guess. 1, 3, that is 1, 4. Let's say 1, 4. So that would be then Languedoc. And down here we could do North Italic, for example. These would be both Romanic languages, but they would be different. And this guy can take, that's the Old High German. So that would be fine. Now the idea is, one guy gets these blue areas here. I mean, Austria is not part of that, but the blue areas, and then maybe Friesland. I thought about that. Because these are only 5 areas, I mean, these are good areas, but not super good. And I think it's the big advantage is he has a lot of room to expand here into the east. But I think it would be fair to give him Friesland. Now the other guys get these rich areas here in the Champagne, Ile-de-France, and probably Flanders. And I also thought about Mercia. Then we have a kingdom down here. Rome, Tuscany, Verona, Lombardy, Provence, Toulouse. And the tricky question is now, what happens with these 3 areas here? Burgundy, Anjou, Aquitaine. That's not easy. Burgundy is a very rich area. The others not so much. But I mean, this guy is definitely arguing, hey, I got all these Saracen attacks all the time. I want an area which is a little bit from the coast. I mean, Verona would also fit this description, but still, which is a little bit from the coast and which is still rich, so that I don't have to deal constantly with this shit. But then the other guy would have a ton of areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, maybe we could actually do that. Maybe we can do that. That we say, okay, this northern French guy gets Aquitaine, Anjou, Ile-de-France, and the southern one gets Burgundy, Toulouse, and Provence. Sounds like a reasonable action. So we got then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's only 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, sounds good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for this guy. But yeah, I think that's okay. I think we all could live with that. So the funny part is now that after that, when everybody agreed, the leaders are determined, and then it is randomly determined who gets which part. And that's a fun idea, that there is this random determination then. Okay, so that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to replace now these yellow markers with the markers of the new colors, and I'm also going to determine the new leaders. Okay, so the look of the map has significantly changed now. No more single big empire here, still here in the east of course, but in the center we have now here these, yeah, I don't know, beige or kind of white or bright brown or whatever. It's a little bit, you see, these are white, these are a little darker here. Could have been done better, but okay. So we have these areas now here, and then the blue ones here. and also one here, Mercia, and finally this center here. Now the court here remains in Lorraine. The court of the other guy is in the Ile-de-France, and the last guy has picked his court in Lombardy. These are rich areas, so taxing them is without risk in the court, so that's the reason why they picked these ones. They all start with a palace. I give everyone a palace in their home area. Palace on itself is not very useful, but if you have more than one, and you can get those through some of these event cards, then you can rule in the areas, in all the areas which have a palace with a single action. So I think giving a palace to people at the start is pretty cool, because otherwise, if they would gain their first palace, they basically cannot really use it right away. So a little bit of a bonus here. Okay, but now we come to the real interesting stuff, and that is we can now get, by the way, each of these countries, these new formed kingdoms, should start now the game with $10. And we see here a pretty good leader in Italy, 5-3-2. So that is a good fighter. We see a more of a crappy leader, or at least really mediocre guy here, 3-3-2 in, well, we can call it northern France or whatever. And finally, we have a solid guy here, 3-5-3, more the administrative guy, but definitely also a decent leader. Yeah, but the question is now, where will the other guys show up? Now the rules say the following. They tell you that you need at least 3 areas of a common language zone that has to be Christian, and there you can form your new kingdom. So that would leave us pretty much with a Celtic kingdom here, and that's it. And the other guy has to wait then until, I don't know, some conversion happens, or a magnet shows up somewhere, or whatever. I don't like that idea terribly much, especially because that makes it harder that we see some kind of empire, for example, here in the East or so. And I like to see more options, you know, a little more randomness here. So what I'm going to do is, and this goes really far away from the rules, but hey, who cares? I'm gonna roll a die. We have, let's say we have 4 main regions where we could start empires. We could start a Muslim empire here in Spain. We can start a Celtic empire here in Britain, Ireland, also Brittany would be an option. We can start a kind of a Viking empire, which are not exactly the Vikings because these are the raiders, but these kind of Norse empire, for example, in Sweden, so here in this area. Or we can start an empire somewhere in the east. So I'm simply going to roll a die here. We have 2 empires to give away. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we see where the first empire ends up. That's a 2. So we see our Celtic empire. Not sure if this is the best idea. But hey, I mean, let's give it a shot. And if it will fade into history, who cares? We simply come up with a new empire then. Okay, that is definitely a very questionable decision here. But it might be a fun idea anyway to see this kind of Irish kingdom showing up here. And well, they are pretty poor. They always have this kind of -1 social status. And we're going to see how their leader is doing. Maybe they're going to go more for pillaging. Maybe they're lucky and roll some good administrator. We'll find out. Let's start with the combat. And basically, what we do is we roll on the leader's current state 3 table to determine the starting values. Combat isn't too great. That remains a 3. I mean, it's solid, but then we have administration. That sucks. That's bad. That's bad. That's a 2. That's a pretty bad start. And finally, we have diplomacy. And this is a 7. So that is a 3. Yeah, okay, there we go. So, okay, this is this poor guy here. And now we got 3 other options. We got Spain, we got Scandinavia, or the East. Let's see what we roll. That's a 2. So we get a kingdom here in Spain. And it's going to be a Muslim kingdom, which is kind of cool, I think. And I guess I'm going to take Cordoba as my base. And then grab Granada and, yeah, probably Castile. These 3 areas here. Okay, so now we're done. We see here Spain, Ireland, the 3 Frankish empires and the Byzantines. Nothing in the East, nothing in Scandinavia. Maybe these would have been a better choice. Definitely instead of Ireland, I guess. But okay. I like a little randomness here. So let's see what happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say that basically these 3 empires are not allowed to do movement or turns in this round, simply because the Frankish Empire also already did something. They had 5 actions and then the guy died. So I'll give the other guys around to establish themselves a little bit, and of course the Byzantine player who hasn't done anything until now. So I rolled because there was a tie between the leader statue displays of the different players here, and actually the Spanish guy will start now, and of course a lot of things will change now. The single rounds will take much longer. We'll see more events coming up each round, and of course also more player interaction from now on. So let's see. This is the red guy, and it's a dynastic inheritance. Claim to any area on which he has a diplomatic tie or possession of any one area to which he has a claim. By the way, I allowed these guys also to already have a claim in all of their starting areas. Okay, nice. Now he's actually a pretty good diplomatic leader and a decent fighter, so maybe he might use that to try to get a claim somewhere. Well, so we all start with $10 here. I'm considering attacking Portugal. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, so we already managed to grab a few areas here. Was pretty successful actions here. Portugal, Leon, all in the first attack. Castile, we did some successful ruling here. So a good start for our Muslim emperor here. But The guy died here, as you can see. This, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 5, 9. Worst possible card. So that means we got to roll for another leader here. So we ended up with a fantastic administrator. He's got an administrative value of 9. That is just awesome. And of course we're going to use that, try to bring up, improve my country here, no doubt. So we're going to use our last 2 cards to improve Portugal. And that worked out. And then I think I want to improve Cordoba, actually, my own court. And that also worked out. And I die again. Holy shit, man. Insane. That's sad. He was so great. But at least he did a little bit. So that goes up to +3, my courtyard. Well, not too bad. Yeah, sadly the successor here is not too good. We ended up with, you can see, combat 3, 3, 2. So these are not that great of values here. But okay, overall, and actually we ended also up with unrest here in Castile. Still, we had an income of $7, which is not bad for a small country, and I think they're on a good way if nothing goes too wrong here. And then we're gonna see what Ireland can do. And we have a monastic revival here. And that says, card must be played the instant it is picked. Each player immediately receives 1 cathedral marker at no cost. The player places the marker in any one controlled Catholic area per player. If no such area is controlled, then no effect. The player places the marker in any one controlled Muslim area, 1 per player. This is going to be the what are these called? Well, these Muslim cathedrals, you know, I don't know, is it a mosque? Could be a mosque, I think. No such area is controlled, then no effect. Okay, so yeah, everybody gets a cathedral, and I'm gonna let you know what these mean. Okay, each player plays the cathedral mainly where they are expecting a lot of ruling going on. So especially the people here near the Saracens, they place cathedrals in attractive areas because if the Saracens pillage, then they might be able to bring up the status a little faster. Now let's see what the Irish guy can do. It's not easy for him. I mean, he's not bad in combat, but it's going to be very hard for him to take out these areas. But still, I mean, if he doesn't do it now, it's probably even harder than at a later time. Okay, and I pillaged Wessex. And you can see now here this G result. So that means I can roll now on the gold table, and the social state now is reduced by 1 in Wessex, and I want to roll high. Well, that wasn't too great. That gives me $1. Okay, I mean, that's not a lot, but we don't have a lot of money anyway, so it might be not too bad. And then I'm gonna do taxes, and I only can tax Wales because all the others are negative. Oh boy. Yeah, that is unrest. So I'm gonna use my last action to try a rule action, and there was successful. So that means, well, it cannot go above +1, but the unrest is gone. I get another buck, and yeah, my income isn't too great. I earned $2, one thanks to some pillaging here. I was trying to make a deal with the blue player here. My idea was to say, you know what, leave me north of Britain. Let's say I attack Wessex, and then we make a deal. I give you Wessex and you give me Mercia, and then you leave me this northern area of Britain and you do your own thing. Sounds like a reasonable suggestion. I mean, Wessex is a valuable province, but you know, if you consider it, why take only Wessex if you might as well get the whole island? And that is the thing. I mean, this player generates a lot of money here. Ile-de-France, $4 per turn possibly, $2, $2, and there is even more possible here. So he can easily make, I don't know, up to $10 if he improves his areas just a little bit. This guy at the moment only makes a single buck. And he also doesn't have a lot of potential. I think the maximum he get out of this area is $3 altogether. So this is pretty horrible. And therefore there is no need for the French player to accept that offer, because in the end money is the important thing in war, and he simply has so much more than the Irish player. So the Byzantine player draws an event card, and that's a Year of Famine, and again it affects him, so bad luck here. Okay, so basically I had to repair everything that came from the famine, and I ended up with some unrest here after taxing, and I also had unrest somewhere else, so I wanted to take care of that before this one here. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one more turn here. So we see a very interesting situation now. At the beginning of the next turn I rolled for a magnet, and a magnet did indeed show up. And I rolled again where it is, and it shows up in Castile. And that is possible because there is unrest. Usually it would not be possible, but because of the unrest we see now a magnet coming up here. And that is obviously really bad news for the Muslim player here. And this guy is going to be fairly strong, so that might actually bring him in a very, very bad position here. And as we can see, this is the highest social state, Cordoba. So therefore that magnet will attack here right away, and I think the unrest goes away. I'm going to remove it. And so that obviously sucks now. We have, I mean, the magnet isn't that strong. We have a 5 plus 1 is a 6. And he attacks here. We have the same religion, the same language. But this thing has a +3 modifier, so he's down to +3. But that is still kind of painful. And it seems like I have to defend myself here. So, Well, I also only have a limited amount of money, obviously. That is a big problem. Shit. Okay, I have a combat value of 3, so I can bring this down to a 3, to a 0, by using a card for defense. And then I'm gonna spend $1. So now he has a negative value, which means he cannot successfully do this. But we gotta check if he dies, and that is not the case. And if we would have allowed him to do the attack, we had a conquest value here. So it seems like we actually have to we have to defend ourselves against this guy, which is a serious problem, no doubt here. Yeah, okay. Let's continue. So, gonna spend another $1 to reduce this to below 0, flip a card. The magnet would have done again a conquest. So I'm afraid I have to continue with this, which is bad because it will make my treasure suffer, and of course also my actions. So the guy will try it again, and the same thing again. Yeah, let's see. At the moment I can only hope that the magnet's base result will go down like this, for example. Here we have active base -1. So now I don't have to pay anymore. And that is something. So he's now at 0. There we are. And but he's still able to attack. I think it's a. Let me see. He's at. This is 5 then. Mine, yeah, he's still at 2, but at least I don't have to. I don't have to spend money. I can simply flip this. Okay, so all my actions are gone, which is definitely bad. Oh, actually the magnet would have, he would have kept the last card for defense. So I actually don't have to spend that action. Okay. So I have the option to fight back here. That's something. But this is definitely a pretty bad situation for me. So it's the Irish player. And now also this turn order thing becomes more interesting. So the Irish player goes first. And he has a diplomatic coup. We gotta see where we place these cards. Let's place it here, I guess. And well, his idea is to pillage these areas like crazy so that he can reduce them in value, and maybe then the French player is not so eager to conquer them anymore and might consider to say, okay, I'm gonna focus on my areas instead of trying to get these extremely poor areas in England. So I'm gonna try to pillage Wessex here. And yeah, let's see what we get. That's a -1, that's something. And let's continue this. I guess we got another -1 here, but now I gotta check. So we did a successful pillage here, a second one, so this area is pretty much ruined. I tried to capture Northumberland, and I spent basically all my money doing that. I only have $2 left, but I was pretty unlucky. I didn't make it. Instead, Scotland is now also as the base, yeah, completely wrecked here. But maybe, I mean, it's a question if now the French player still has interest in attacking Britain. Hard to tell. It really is. Maybe not. The Muslim player managed to defeat the magnet with his last combat action. He also spent all his money, and he did it. But Castille suffered from that quite a bit, from +1 to -1. That will take him a few ruling actions to bring it back to a good state. Well, let's see who's next. The northern French player. We draw a card here. Division of the Empire. That sounds horrible. If the player controls 10 or more areas. Let's see if that applies. I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. So I guess... yeah, this card does not apply. Luckily for him, this is horrible for big empires. So, yeah, now it's basically the big question, what do I want to do? Do I want to go here into war with the Irish? Or not? I mean, I could do it. If I'm doing well, the thing is that all these areas have only a population value of 0 or less. So I only need a single successful attack to destroy them. This guy has nearly no money, has very little money, and he only has a single card to defend himself. So it's very tempting. I could actually do it. I could take out the whole empire if I'm doing fine with a single action or with a single turn. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? I might want to do that. You know, I actually really have a feeling like this is something I want to do. So first I'm going to tax my areas, and then I'm going to go into war with Ireland and maybe destroy this area completely. It's just too tempting. I mean, this is really a tough decision. I'm not sure, maybe I don't want to catch the attention of my neighbors here, because if I get too powerful and control a big chunk of England or of Britain and this area, so it's possible that then here the Lombardians and the guys from Lorraine will unite and try to destroy my empire. And sometimes it's more valuable to have a smaller empire with a really strong economy than a big empire with all these crappy areas up there. But I'm not sure. I mean, it's tempting. So I'm going to roll a die here. On a 1 to 3, I will go to war. And I'm not. Okay. So the idea is that I can still do that later, because if I manage to improve these areas here, which I'm going to do now, and maybe I take Brittany, then I should be able to take out Ireland anytime anyway. So the French guy wasn't doing too well. Actually, his leader died twice during this turn. He ended up now with a 3-2-3 guy, which is not very good, especially if he wants to do administration actions. But still, he tried to attack Brittany and wasn't successful. He lost one status here in the base area and a lot of money. So that wasn't great at all. Now it's the Lombardians, and I'm gonna draw the event card. That's a seizure of power. This may be played the instant that another player plays a leader event card. That leader is discarded before it is played. Wow, that's super painful. The player who played the leader must immediately take a leader statue check. This is a very, very painful card because these leaders are strong. So you can really fuck someone up with that. Okay. Looks like I definitely want to do some administration actions here. Nearly every area of mine is at a 0 value. Actually, I cannot get taxes. That's pretty crazy. I have not the option to tax anything. So I definitely want to do some administration. Luckily, I'm not too bad in that. Well, I only managed to tax to rule my court area here, and went up and down, and overall I ended up with +2 now. So that will take me a while here. And we go with the next player, which is this guy up here, the German player. Year of famine. That's mainly in Scandinavia here. I'm in a fairly good shape here. I'm very good in administration. So my idea is to rule the area a little bit. Maybe even build... I don't know if I will build fortifications. Hard to tell. Probably not. Maybe here in Franconia if it's at +3 or something. And then I might actually consider moving against the east. Okay, so I just did my ruling actions and I got a super wealthy empire here. Let's see, I might grab 5, 8, 10, 12, 13 bucks. That's nearly as much as the Byzantines have. So that is definitely very, very cool. And then in the next turn I can start my attacks against the east. Last player is the Byzantine player. Well, we got to deal with this unrest, but first let's see what the event brings. Another recognition of claim. I don't know what to do with that. I think I'm gonna... Shit. I really don't know what to do with that. I think I'm gonna throw away my influence in the church hierarchy. Okay. So yeah, I'm also gonna do mainly some ruling actions. Improve my empire here. There's some horrible areas here. And... that's done it, I guess. Yeah, no surprises here. Managed to bring this up to +1. And that's it for now. I guess we've seen an interesting turn. Or an interesting video. And, well, I mean, the empires will have to establish themselves during the next rounds. Improve their areas, especially here. The guy here from Lombardy, he nearly has no tax income. And also the French guy a little bit. It's very questionable. Ireland has nearly no perspective here. But then, if that's the case, and we're going to see that in the next turn, probably already from Germany, these guys will expand, and sooner or later, of course, there will be also clash between the single empires. People might try to form alliances and then attack a common enemy or something like that. But for now, I guess we will see a few decades of improvement of the empires until they are all really stable before this situation will actually apply. Okay, so hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.